good day to talk about Citizens United and the move to amend. The justices of the U.S. Supreme Court were in error when they ruled that Citizens United met constitutional muster. The Constitution of the United States protects the rights of the citizens of the United States. Corporations are legal entities that governments regulate. They enjoy certain privileges under the Constitution, but not rights. The Citizens United ruling gives special interests an unfair advantage over citizens. Corporations and trade unions are not people. They should not be able to buy political influence through unlimited advertising. They should not be able to purchase control over public policies. With the media so influential now in elections, the deep pockets give them too much power over election outcomes compared to individual citizens. This is not democracy. It's not what our founding fathers intended. Our government is so trapped, so immobilized by special interest money that amending the Constitution and making it clear that corporations are not people and money is not speech is the only way to truly remove this very real threat to democracy. We have some speakers that are going to follow. Senator Ellie Kinnaird is a co-sponsor, a primary sponsor of this bill in the Senate. She'll be followed by Bob Phillips from Common Cause, Representative Susan Fisher, Sally Gaynor, Paul Carano, and perhaps others. Representative Senator.
Thank you so much for all of you coming to cover this very important matter here, and thanks to all of these people. Representative Insko and I introduced these bills in response to citizens' concerns. We heard from many, many citizens, and they said, what can we do? And what they found, and what we found, is that people across the United States are very concerned that we have a broken system. They are very concerned that we do something to change this broken system so that Congress and our legislators are responsive to the people and not to the corporations and the special interest money. So people throughout the United States have banded together in the Move to Amend and many other organizations and groups, along with our citizens in North Carolina and our legislators, to respond in a positive way to get Congress to say we must control this system. That this was a bad decision, this was a wrong decision, but that we, the people, are going to change it. And so again, thank you to everybody here.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Bob Phillips, and I'm with Common Cause North Carolina. And obviously, I work for an organization that is very devoted to trying to be a part of this national movement to overturn Citizens United. Before we had Citizens United, it was a different culture, a different climate. Corporations and trade unions and such couldn't spend unlimited amounts of money on electioneering. And of course, the Citizens United decision in 2010 is the game changer. And we see it now in our election cycle, particularly with super PACs spawning those these organizations that are able to be shadow campaigns and again spend unlimited amounts of money in a fashion, and we often don't know where it's coming from. And again, that's one of the major differences. Today, we have a lot of outside money coming in. We don't always know where it's coming from, whereas in the past, before Citizens United, granted money, big money was a problem, but at least we had more regulations about it, and we certainly knew more about where it was coming from. I'm proud to be a part of this and very impressed and pleased with all the people who are here, and this represents what's happening across the country and in North Carolina. And I'm kind of struck, I'll just close by saying that, you know, we're in a building where there are disagreements every day. It's on display, issues that divide us, issues that sometimes it spills into a bit of messiness. But the one common enemy I think we all have, regardless of where we are coming from on issues and regardless of political party, is big money politics. That is the common enemy, and we've got to end it. Most people in this country want to see an end to it, and certainly I think this is a beginning for that. So again, thank you for being here.
Good afternoon. I'm Susan Fisher. I represent District 114 in Buncombe County.
And I wanted to be here sort of on behalf of all of the folks in Buncombe County who have been very active around this issue, about bringing this to the Congress. You have, I mean, raise your hands, everybody who's here from Buncombe County.
Or Western North Carolina.
Or Western North Carolina, Western North Carolina included.
Yeah,
there you go. There you go. This has been a very important issue with a lot of people organizing around the idea that it's not we the corporations, it's we the people. What we need to do is restore Republican democracy, government by the people, for the people. I can even talk about this from the standpoint of being a woman candidate for election. It's difficult enough for women in general to raise money to run for office. What Citizens United does is it allows one corporate entity to speak for every member of that corporation. It takes away the individual freedom of a person to decide who they will support. And often, the big money in politics goes to male candidates, not female candidates. And I think, you know, I think that's also worth considering. But the biggest thing to consider is it is about we the people, not we the corporations. Thank you all for your interest in this issue, and I appreciate your coverage of it. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Dr. Sally Gerner. I'm an engineer, I'm a business owner, and I'm the coordinator for the Triangle Move to Amend group, which includes both Chapel Hill, Carborough, as well as Durham, and now increasingly in Raleigh. We actually, Melissa Price-Crum, who is, helps us with this kind of thing, now has groups going in New Bern, Charlotte, Greensboro, Wilmington, and probably several other places who I don't remember. Anyway. I come at this from a very different group. I was born and raised a Eisenhower Republican. Almost everybody in my family started a business. I've started 2 for-profit and 1 non-profit, all of which are still going. So I'm a job creator. And I want to call upon all business people, all employees, and all Americans to help overturn Citizens United, not just because it's bad for democracy, but because it's bad for business and the economy. Now, most people don't get this idea that, wow, if we stop letting corporations buy our politicians, why would this be bad for the economy? So let's do the obvious reasons why corporations want to buy politicians. Because they want to buy political, economic favors. They want to rig the game, they want to tilt the playing field, and they don't want to be held responsible for their crimes or for the harm they do. In short, corporations buy politicians because they want to buy economic control. And when they get control, they rig the system in ways that are good for the biggest players. This is not business, this is not corporations, this is the big guys versus everybody else. So they rig it for the biggest players and it's disastrous for everybody else. So ask yourself, why do we give taxpayer subsidies to ExxonMobil while slashing public education? Why do we bail out the big banks that give billion-dollar bonuses to their executives while leaving homeowners high and dry? Why do we lower taxes on the uber wealthy while raising taxes on everybody else? Why do we require that the state treasurer of North Carolina invest the state employees' pension fund in Wall Street in the very companies that are outsourcing North Carolina jobs? So the obvious, I mean, roads, school, healthcare, Social Security, taxes, whenever the big folks get control, they set up a system of welfare for the wealthy and austerity for everybody else. This is not free enterprise, it is vulture capitalism and a rigged market. And if we don't put a stop to it now, we will end up not only losing our democracy, but our economic vitality. If we don't do it in 2012, we might actually witness the end of America's democratic free enterprise world. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Paul Carano. I'm from Greensboro. I'm a citizen and an activist in order to get this amendment passed to our Constitution. First, I want to thank all our legislators for supporting this. Thank you very much. Quite frankly, we've got to get the corrupting influence of money out of our politics. We need to take the head of the beast off in order to get these tentacles to stop annoying population and eating at our economy, our health issues, and everything else that's going wrong in this country. Money is the root of it all. And I challenge anyone here to read the Constitution and find me the word corporation. It's just not in there. The Constitution is for people, not corporations. Thank you.
I invite other people if they have comments to make. Thank you. Just find them.
Hello, my name is Stacy Borello. I'm an active member of several grassroots groups, including Occupy Raleigh and the Raleigh Action Collective. But today I'm here speaking on behalf of myself and on behalf of my community. This Citizens United issue is about justice for people. It's about ensuring that human beings retain control over policymaking. Our group has been collecting signatures from the community to present to both the Raleigh City Council and the North Carolina General Assembly legislators. We've collected several hundred signatures already from people who agree with us on this issue. We're asking these legislators to stand with us for people's rights. I want to read you just a few short sentences from the petition, which is the voice of the people. We oppose the Citizens United Supreme Court decision, which unleashes a torrent of unlimited and often anonymous money into our political process, threatening to outweigh the free speech rights of ordinary citizens because of the vast financial resources corporations and the wealthy can spend to influence elections compared with ordinary people. We encourage the City Council of Raleigh, North Carolina and the North Carolina General Assembly to publicly support federal and state legislative action to defend democracy by calling for a stop to anonymous, unlimited campaign-related donations and supporting a constitutional amendment establishing that 1, only human beings are endowed with constitutional rights, not corporations or any other type of organization. And 2, the free speech rights of ordinary individuals should not be outweighed by the concentrated wealth of private interests. Therefore, regulating campaign-related expenditures serves to preserve representative democracy. I think as community awareness increases about the corrupting effect of corporate control of elections, the imperative to overturn Citizens United will be recognized, and it will happen. I hope you will help it happen. Thank you.
This will be short because I didn't know I was going to get to say anything, but I'm not going to pass up the opportunity. I come from Madison County, and I'm pleased to see our representative, Ray Rapp, here today. I'd like to tell you about the experience we had in Western North Carolina in the last election, because it tells us something that probably we don't think about very often. A person whom we all know and whose name I don't need to mention invested a great deal of money in elections in Western North Carolina. He didn't buy the politicians. He bought the office. And then he made sure the people running for the office were people whose views were consistent with his own. It's a distinction, perhaps without a difference, because either way, our democracy suffers from that kind of activity. The work that was done last year to demonize the person in office made it available for the folks that are in there now. They're not bad people, but I wonder how they would have done in a fair election. And I thank you for this opportunity.
Hi, I'm Avram Friedman. I'm the Executive Director of the Canary Coalition. We're an environmental organization based in Western North Carolina. And you might ask, well, why am I here? I'm here because corporate influence is weakening environmental regulations in North Carolina. As a result of the influence of corporations, we're paying higher utility rates. We're seeing new power plants being built. We're seeing fracking considered in North Carolina. I think we have to recognize that corporations are not people. Money is not a form of free speech. It's a form of influence and power. And we have to reverse that, and that's why I think everybody is here. That's why this national movement is happening. And I think it's the responsibility of North Carolina's lawmakers to have their voice heard on the federal level and tell Congress that we need a constitutional amendment that says corporations are not people and money is not speech. Thank you.
My name is Jim Center. I live in southern Person County. I'm president of Potluck Power Company, which is a small solar electric generator. And I am here to echo Dr. Gerner's concerns for the small businesses that is posed by the threat to small businesses posed by Citizens United and unlimited campaign contributions. And recently, a presidential candidate who will remain unnamed said, of course, corporations are people. Who do you think cashes those checks? But General Electric was founded in 1870 and is still going strong today. Let me ask you, what person do you know of that is 140 years old and in good health? There are corporations in Japan that are over 200 years old. And what person do you know of that could, through negligence, kill people like BP did in the Deepwater Horizon or Massey Energy did in the Big Branch mine disaster? What person do you know of that can kill people through negligence and get away with a fine? Again, corporations are not people, and we need to amend the Constitution to make that clear. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Melissa Price-Crom with the North Carolina Voters for Clean Elections. And I just want to close here today with just to show you this is a citizen grassroots movement growing across the country and growing in our state. And we are here to lobby our legislators and let them know that we want to see the Citizens United movement overturned.
So Senator Kinnaird and I and some of the other legislators have a resolution that's currently in draft form. We will be introducing that in the next week or two. The last paragraph says, whereas the people and states of the United States of America have strengthened the nation and preserved liberty and equality for all by using the amendment process throughout the history of the nation, including 7 of 10 decades of the 20th century, and through that process have reversed 7 erroneous Supreme Court decisions. Now therefore be it resolved by the House of Representatives, the Senate concurring, the North Carolina General Assembly expresses opposition to the United States Supreme Court decision in Citizens United v. Federal Election Commission, and call upon the United States Congress to propose and send to the states for ratification an amendment to the United States Constitution to restore Republican democracy to the people of the United States, by declaring that corporations are not people and money is not speech. And we're glad to take questions, and Representative Lukey is going to make a comment. Thanks.
Thank you. I just thank you all for organizing the event. I'm glad to be here. I just wanted to encourage everyone from the media. You know that resolutions are very routine in front of the House Rules Committee. So I look forward to this being heard soon. And of course, I'm being sarcastic. I hope you will ask the chairs of the House Rules Committee when they would allow a vote on it. And truly, just to have a vote on it and have a discussion on it would move this state forward. Unfortunately, I don't think the resolution will be heard, and I do think that's a mistake. So keep watching, but I think we're going to have to ask, and you're going to have to ask if this resolution will be heard. Thank you.
And we'd be glad to take questions, involve Paul and Melissa and some of the others can help answer.
Why do you think so? Have you discussed this with them? Have you, or let me open that up. Have you heard anything from Republican leadership for or against, in favor, or in opposition about this?
I haven't. I just presume that on the basis of the genesis of the legislation, the people in the country who generally are concerned about Citizens United, it tends to be people who really have, as a political party, fewer resources in toto to put in to election campaigns or into super PACs, and I say it for that reason.
I want to say that this was generated, as I said, by citizens who came to us and approached us. So we began the process in response to all of the citizens, and I think that that's the step we're taking, the path we're going to take.
And this should be a bipartisan effort. So I think we're going to be reaching out to people across the aisle. There are leading Republicans across the nation who started speaking out against this, against Citizen United, Senator McCain, others, and we hope to build a coalition across the aisle.
Oh, okay. There are several ways to skin this cat. We were just talking about how to get it introduced, and there are at least some alternatives that are being considered. We're not going to do this publicly right now because that was a little bit of a surprise to me, hearing that just now. But I think, as Representative Lupke said, that the rules of the House, at least, and the Senate as well right now, in terms of introducing some of these resolutions, are prescriptive, and we've got to find a way, and there's always a way to get around some of these rules. So we'll be working on that.
There is a Republican precedent
Yes.
upon which we are basing our...
We're very pleased that we have had a petition to Congress in the form of a resolution introduced in the Senate, which sets a precedent for us.
So we figure
that's the policy we're using.
Do you have any Republican support at this point?
We've just begun.
Yeah.
As I say, this is in response to citizens, and we've just begun the process.
And given that you feel this way, do you think Democrats in North Carolina should abide by this rule in the 2012 election and not get help from campaigns or organizations that take corporate money?
We are talking about something that is citizen-generated, and that's what we're working on. We are responding to what our citizens ask us to do, and we feel that that's what the path we're taking.
And those decisions, are made at a higher level than my level. So I hope that we get to the, it's very important for us to get to the point where it's done.
I definitely am going to jump in because I think we can call a moratorium on both sides, and it has to be done with everyone agreeing out of the box. I'm getting a lot of feedback. You've met one of my constituents, Tom Colson from Madison County. I'm hearing that from both sides of the aisle. There's a sense of a real outrage about this and the impact of folks that we have no control over. And that's the key. That's really the answer to your question. We could say, we don't want you to do this. But the whole point is many of these corporations and these PACs, they're operating independently. If they decide to do it, there's absolutely nothing we can do to stop them.
So you could tell them right here now not to do it in North Carolina.
We could ask them. Well,
you can tell them, but they don't have to listen.
Well, that's the point. That's sure, exactly right.
But do you think Democrats should reject attempts for help?
In a bipartisan way. I think we should be talking with our colleagues across the aisle, and many of whom have expressed the same sense of outrage about this Citizens United decision. And if we can get that race by race, by starting wherever you want to start, then I'm very much in favor of that. If I can get my opponent this fall to agree to that, that's fine. But just getting the agreement between the two candidates does not ensure that that transpires. Because if the corporations decide they want to take out one candidate or support the alternative candidate, that's in their purview, that's in their legal rights right now. And that's why this is the beginning of this, what I really see in a grassroots manner going across not only the state of North Carolina, but across the nation, of people saying we want to get back control of our government and political process. We really have lost it with this Citizens United decision.
I want to interject that North Carolina already has public grants for some statewide judgeships as well as some council of government positions.
And I'd kind of like to speak because I am one of those citizens activists who got involved in all of this. We started last November with 5 people who met in my kitchen, right? Within 3 weeks, we had 60 people, and they come from absolutely every side. We have a retired ExxonMobil exec who's working on this in Cary. We have lots of business people, and in fact, because I live in Chapel Hill, we took pains to have the business people do the presentations to get these resolutions passed. because it's important for us to know that, I mean, I think our politicians are, both sides of the aisle are sort of hogtied right now. They have no choice but to do what the money forces them to do. That's why we are pushing them. And we want to push anybody. We are an equal opportunity pusher. You know? Right and left, Republican and Democrat, because this is going to kill us. This stuff is going to kill us.
Killing our democracy.
And economy.
I just wanted to add one more comment to address the press question that came. I think it's a very good question, but I think that the point that we need to focus on is this is not a partisan issue. This is not something that's supported by Democrats and opposed by Republicans, or at least that's not the way that it should be. This is an issue about whether or not our elected representatives are going to listen to their constituents, their human constituents, or if they're going to allow the status quo, which is corporate control of our elections through unlimited and sometimes anonymous financing of those elections. So it's not a partisan issue, it's a people's issue.
Very great.
My name is Ruth South, and since this has started like 3 years ago with Citizens United, Women's International League for Peace and Freedom has been working on this issue. And here in North Carolina, what we need is public financing of not just judgeships, but all across the board. All of the senators, all of the congresspeople. If we had public financing for all public offices in the state of North Carolina, we would have a people's democracy.
We may have time for one more question if there is one. I think we have the room until 12:30. So. Thank you all for coming. Thank you.
Thank you. Good job.
I'll talk to you later because I've got some.